We want to talk to Patrick Mueller, RFC and president of Bella Advisors. Patrick, tell me a little bit more about some of your thoughts, the big picture here. There's no doubt when you start to get to the highs in the market that there is more volatility, more fragile. People start to look, are we overbought? Do we need a little bit of a pullback? That kind of stuff. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's nice to see the rebounding this year, being down 20% at one point in the S&P. And now we're getting back to all-time highs again, which is nice. But we're definitely not out of the weeds yet, because just like you were talking about a minute ago with Trump ceasing the negotiations with Canada, and there's still more negotiations going on with the tariffs. We have these other deadlines with all of these other countries around the world that's coming up here in the early part of July. So I think we're going to still continue to see a lot of volatility here moving forward, but there's a lot of positive things that are going on, and it's nice to see things springboarding back, that's for sure.
Yeah, understood. How do you view the market going forward? Are you going to sort of bet and play a position higher or somewhere where we are now? How are you feeling when you're going to do your investing? Are you going to be somewhat risk on?
Yeah, we're risk on at this point, but we always take a very cautious approach because we mainly work with folks who are retirees. But when it comes to having money in the markets right now, the places where I like to be are things that are very comfortable place to be. That's good long term, which is like Berkshire B shares and big consumer companies like you got Walmart. So powerhouses where even if the economy tightens and people are needing to get fearful or try to save some pennies, they're still going to be going and shopping at a lot of these different places. And so I like those big value companies, big behemoth companies that are going to be doing their thing. And 5 years from now, they're going to be just fine, and they're going to weather that volatility. So, you've got, Berkshire this year that's up over 8% year to date. And, it's double, over double what the S&P is so far for the year. So I think that's going to continue. And so those are the places that I like to be this year, things that are going to be very, very solid and not as much volatile as a lot of the tech companies, even though I am very bullish on tech right now.
And what do you think about what's going on with Buffett? You had some Buffett thoughts, Warren Buffett.
Well, it's crazy with Warren Buffett. You got to pay attention, because how often does Warren Buffett get things wrong? And he's now stockpiled over $350 billion in cash, and he's just waiting to pounce. So he's made some purchases into Domino's here recently because they got beat up, and he's buying them up at a discount. So that's what he likes to do. He likes to wait for things to get really beat up and then start pouncing on it. And that's what I would recommend for folks this year, is we're not done with this volatility. And buy your bigger companies that you believe are going to be doing well long term. Think a little bit longer term, but especially when we start getting beat up in these dips, and we're not done with this. I don't think we're out of the hot water yet. I'm very optimistic long term with everything that's happening. And we kind of saw that yesterday with the GDP numbers that came out, that, we had a little bit of a contraction, but I think that was to be expected with the new administration coming in and people just being uncertain where things are going to go. But moving forward, as these things start ironing out, we're starting to see this tariff money coming back in. And I think that's going to be very good long term for us. And it's going to be lifting the markets up. Like, you just have GE that just decided to move their operations from China to Kentucky. And I think that's huge. And that's kind of showing where the shift is going.
So at this point now, is gold? Is gold part of your trading portfolio?
I like gold. I like precious metals. I like gold. I like silver. I think it's going to be in demand, especially silver moving into the future with solar and electric cars. I think we're going to see more of an upswing when it comes to silver. And you got gold. We're at all-time highs by far. It's been trucking along, and it's because there's so much uncertainty that's been going on in the markets. Anytime people are fearful, anytime there's uncertainty, then it's going to be driving gold prices up, because people want a safe haven to put their place. And I think it's a part of everybody's portfolio should be precious metals, but we don't put any more than maybe 5 or 10% into precious metals.
Understood. And what about utilities?
Utilities are going to be very stable, especially with all the AI. Like, we get our internet service here from a data storage company next door, so we got awesome internet here. But they got to power these big data companies. And here in Atlanta, we've got, tons of big tech companies, and these data storages are popping up all over the place. And so the demand is twice as much as the energy is available right now. So that's going to be a big play, I think, moving forward. And utilities, especially through volatile times, I think are always good because it tends to be very stable. And I like that, especially as we're going to be going through markets where there's a lot of changes, or this administration where there's a lot of changes going on.
And what's your favorite tech play or part of tech? How do you go about that?
Yeah, when it comes to tech, I like the Mag 7. I love the Mag 7, and especially NVIDIA and Google, and you can't bet against these companies long term. And we're going to start seeing a lot of earnings coming out, and we think the most earning potential is going to be coming from these companies. So it's going to be your big key 7, I think. And I think that you really can't go wrong with a lot of those companies. I mean, maybe watch out for Apple. They've been having some issues here lately. But as far as your tech companies go, I mean, anything that's driving the AI movement right now, I mean, it's crazy how fast this is really moving. It's going to be really exciting over the next few years just to see where this goes.
All right, Patrick Mueller, thank you. RFC and president of Vela Advisors. Thank you.